Hello everybody. This is Aftab Arfan. I'm your equity officer here at the City of Vancouver, joining you today from beautiful Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territory. I'm coming to you with just a few updates about supports that are available through the Human Resources Department for colleagues from marginalized and equity denied communities. So first of all, a quick update for well-being and mental health support for colleagues from Indigenous, Black, and other racialized communities. For those of you who are new to this conversation, one of the challenges we face is that when people of color try to access counseling through the city, through Homewood Health, sometimes there are challenges in being matched with people who understand our issues or people who look like us. We've been working with Homewood on this for a while, and one of the new developments that has happened is that Homewood has put out a job advertisement, and they're actively recruiting several positions that specialize in working with the BIPOC community. The language in the posting is, and I quote, is we are looking for a solid understanding of the systems of oppression, including racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, colonialism, and others, and how they impact and exacerbate mental health concerns. So I think having this sensibility more present in Homewood would really, really help us. Now, when you reach out to Homewood, you can absolutely be specific about what you need. The intake counselor will do their best to match you, and from the stories that are coming back to me, I get the sense that they're actually making some really good matches. So if you need these services, please use them. For our Indigenous colleagues, you might also be aware that we are in the process of trying to create an elder in residence program, which would allow us to bring one or two elders into the city to be present and to provide emotional, cultural, and spiritual support specifically for the Indigenous colleagues. And this would happen both in groups and individually, and I think would make a huge difference at the city. The program has been a little bit delayed because of everything that we know elders have been going through, especially this past year, but I am hopeful that we can make introductions to the elders perhaps in my next update. Now, in the meantime, the Equity Office does have some connections both with elders and with racialized counselors through Homewood. So if you're not finding the support that you need, please reach out to us and we'll do our best to help you. Secondly, I have an update for colleagues undergoing or contemplating undergoing gender transition, or who have children or other dependents somewhere on the transition journey. I'm very pleased to let you know that the city, through Green Shield Canada, now covers the financial cost of a whole number of procedures, gender affirmation procedures. So this is a service that supplements the major surgeries that are already available through the BC healthcare system. And they cover both foundational and focused procedures like vocal surgery, breast construction, facial feminization, hair implants, all procedures that might help a trans person feel more at home in their body. These procedures are available to any city staff, employees, and dependents who have a gender dysphoria diagnosis. Now, many of us in the trans community or on the gender spectrum will not go through surgeries. And so I just want to be clear that the city covering these procedures is not an endorsement of the gender binary and the feminized and masculine expressions and forms of being, but these are really essential services for those trans colleagues who need them for their well-being. And we in fact know that some of these procedures can be life-saving for trans colleagues. So if you need them, please check out the information on the Green Shield Canada website, or reach out to one of our benefit coordinators in HR and they'll be able to help you. Now, finally, I have a message for colleagues with disabilities. We are in this moment when many of us are returning back to the office, and I know that colleagues with disabilities, chronic pain, chronic illness, mental illness, you're feeling some anxiety, or maybe feeling some anxiety because you've been managing pretty well at home and you're wondering what it would be like to come back to the office. A lot of the return to office messaging has focused on standards, and of course we need standards for consistency, for fairness, and standards are not going to work 100% for everybody all the time. There's also room for accommodations. So, for example, most of us who need work phones, we get a standard iPhone for our work. But if you're a person with visual impairment, you might get a large screen phone. Not because you feel like having a large screen phone, but because that's actually what you need to do your job and not put more strain on your body. Another example would be most of us work a standard work day, maybe a 7.5 work day with a lunch and a couple of coffee breaks. But if you're a person who needs a break every hour to take medication or to move around to relieve pain, then you might come to an arrangement with your manager that lets you organize your day differently, maybe work longer but take more breaks. Every person's medical condition and circumstances will be different, so accommodations are very individualized. If you need adjustments to your work, it's really, really important that you have a conversation about it with your immediate supervisor. That conversation with the supervisor launches a process of individualized assessment, looking at it on a case-by-case basis, trying to understand the disability-related needs and what accommodations need to be made. And you will be pretty central in that process. So I do encourage you to reach out. And I fully acknowledge it can be awkward. It could feel difficult to reach out to your supervisor. I hope that someday we're in a world where there would be no stigma around disabilities and it would feel easier to ask for accommodations. At this moment, if you're facing barriers, if you're having a challenge talking with your supervisor, or if you have any other questions about accommodations, please reach out to organizational health or to the equity office, and we'll advise you and guide you about next steps. Finally, I just want to remind us that we also have at the city 12 really excellent employee resource groups. These are groups of colleagues who come together voluntarily around a shared aspect of identity, and they're very important peer support groups to each other. So please have a look at the information on employee resource groups through the equity office. Join one or start a new one if what you need doesn't already exist. I want to say thank you to the many of you who've been of support to each other as we continue to make our way through this very tumultuous time. If you're struggling, I'm here. I'm happy to help. Please feel free to be in touch and take care of yourselves.